I was living a very active life. I have a full job, doing lots of sports. But then things started to happen. It was in February 22, then I got COVID. It was a very mild, 2-3 days, like a moderate cold, really. Insomnia, I got insomnia after COVID. So that was also one contributor, I think. So I hardly slept at all. I realized that CFS had been in control over my life for over a year. I had a very strong belief that I would get out of this, and I think that has been fundamental for me. I was surprised myself, to be honest, that it came so fast. That was sort of the second milestone I had in the program. I started off with just 3 or 4 minutes walking. I started to do some jogging in between a month and a half ago. That was the third milestone, I would say. I woke up one day, I had a very active day the day before, no flare-up, no symptoms. In the morning, and I decided I'll just go for a run, see what happens. I did, and this was the 4-kilometer run, and I have gone on longer runs since then. That was like a release of some sort.
How's it going, everybody? Miguel here from CFS Recovery. In today's video, I have Tom, who is making such amazing progress. I wanted to share his recovery update so far because just 4 months ago, he was mainly housebound, going on a few walks outside, but his capacity was very limited. And he actually just posted in the Wins channel last week, he just ran 4 kilometers. So while he is still dealing with some symptoms and adjustment periods, he's gone from mainly housebound to running 4 kilometers. And with that, many mind shifts had to happen along the way. He's followed the plan, and we just wanted to bring him on here to kind of share what that looked like and what his experience is. So, Tom, it's great to have you on here. Welcome all the way from Norway. You want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Tom from Norway, as you said, 51 years old, wife, 2 children, and very active. I was very active before I got CFS, so physically active.
And now we're starting to build you back up to becoming more active again. So when you first came to us, this was back in August, and you had the CFS for about 14 or 15 months. How did that all come about? So prior to getting sick, maybe let's start there. What was your life like leading up to you getting sick? What did that look like?
Yeah, I'm not really sure when this all started, but as I said, I was living a very active life. I have a full job, doing lots of sports. But then things started to happen in my life. So I got a mother that got very sick. I got a wife that got cancer, and then I got some physical symptoms as well, probably due to that. And then it was in February 22, then I got COVID. It was a very mild, 2-3 days, like a moderate cold, really. And I thought, okay, I'm done with that. So I just continued in the same normal pace as before. And I did this one ski race just 3 weeks after. That's when I started to feel that something was going on. And then I did another one in the 3 weeks after, which was an extreme one. And that's after that one, that's when I noticed something isn't right. So that's probably what sort of pushed me over the cliff. And I got 100% sick leave I was in May last year, and but I was quite functional at that time. But then my mother died that summer, and all that comes with that, organizing funerals, traveling, lots of people, emotional. So after the funeral, that's when I sort of hit the wall really hard, and from there it's I was. That's when I got housebound, to put it like that. I wasn't able to do hardly anything. So that's where it really started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was in the summer of 2022?
This was July 22.
Got it. And when it all really hit you, after your mother's funeral, because that's just an extra layer of stress on top of everything, what kind of symptoms were you feeling at that time that really kept you from, just living a normal life?
It was fatigue and insomnia. I got insomnia after COVID, so that was also one contributor. I think so I hardly slept at all. I got the nausea, the flu-like feeling, sinus pain, heart palpitations, internal vibrations, body trembling. So it was loads of symptoms, and I didn't know what was going on at that time. I thought I had some sort of neurological disease like MS or ALS or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah,
But
and it's kind of scary because, I mean, you probably went to a lot of doctors and they couldn't figure it out. So you start Googling, researching your symptoms. And I remember searching up my symptoms. MS came up a lot. MS, adrenal fatigue, thyroid issues, Hashimoto's. So it like terrified me. But what were the doctors saying during these times?
also, as you said, all the tests were good. I don't know how many blood tests I took, but I think probably everyone, all that you can take, and then physical tests, everything was good. So my doctor, he's really good actually, and he told me that it was probably a nervous system related, and so he sent me to a psychologist to deal with that, which of course didn't help a lot. I also tried some alternative treatments, but no, it was therapy helped me at all.
Yeah.
So
The thing is, when they send you to a psychologist or psychiatrist, even if they think it's a nervous system issue, they talk about things like, oh, you're depressed, oh, you're just anxious. But no, you're depressed and anxious because of this nervous system thing. And they never really attack it head on, at least not that I've seen or heard of. So for you, in the summer of 2022, you kind of hit a wall and you're really not functional. Then you go on this kind of journey with doctors trying to figure this out, trying to take it into your own hands. What did the next year look like for you? Were you up and down, or were you getting worse over time? Kind of paint that picture for us.
yeah, I was a bit up actually after first month. After I sort of felt that it was going better, and I had a pretty good period, I remember. But then I started the symptoms, they flared up. I don't know, it sort of scared me that I was doing something wrong. I'm not doing the right things here. Mm-hmm. So that sort of shut me back down again. I remember that this was I think it was end of September 22. So I felt that I was sort of, okay, this is, okay, I'm resting, and what I'm doing is the right thing. But then, of course, I didn't know back then, but I got into what was an adjustment period probably. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't, I didn't deal with that in the right way. I thought everything I did was wrong. And after that, I was stuck. I was stuck there. It was sort of up and down, but very little. And whenever I had tried an activity, like did a walk, 5-minute walk, 10-minute walk, I flared up. And of course, I thought, oh, I did way too much. Mm-hmm. This is not working, and I need to rest. So I spent like almost a year to doing that strategy.
Yeah. I remember when I was stuck in that loop as well. It's kind of just like doing activity and then hoping I don't flare up. And then when I flare up, it's like, okay, another 2 weeks added onto my recovery. And I try again. It's you feel like you're going crazy because you don't really understand any other way out. Because of course the symptoms, it feels like it's terrible. Like you should avoid it at all costs. You don't associate it with adjustment periods, whereas now you do, which makes it so different, right?
Yeah. So and I also mention that I saw this acupuncturist in this spring, and she actually managed to take me a bit further. So I think I had like a 20-minute walk. But then I hit, and then back then I thought this was really, now something might be going right. But then I hit an adjustment period, and I think that was probably the toughest period mentally for me, when I had sort of felt I had come some way along, but then I got sort of shut down again, and that's when to be honest, I lost hope. I thought that I'm not going to get out of this. So that's where I was this summer.
Wow. Yeah.
Before I found your program.
Yeah, I guess it was perfect timing because you came across us, I think, around sometime in the summer.
Yeah,
But you came on, I know you had a chat with Rochelle on our onboarding team, probably sometime in July or August, but
yeah.
you came on. And what made you what made you want to join Recovery Jumpstart? Was it because you just had no other option? You were willing to try anything? What made you pull the trigger on it?
The funny thing was I had stopped research. I didn't Google or anything. I had stopped doing that. But I had this internal vibrations that was bothering me quite a lot. And it was one night. It was really bad during the summer. So I had never seen that being related to CFS. And I had read a lot about CFS, but never that symptom. That was never related to CFS from what I had read. So I googled CFS, internal vibrations, something like that, and
Hmm.
then you came up on top of that search, and lots of YouTube videos, and I wasn't too bothered about watching those. But I found the blueprint, and
Mm.
that's what I read through that, and that sort of, oh right, this that clicked for me. This is exactly what I'm dealing with,
Hmm.
and it didn't take me long to just. Then I decided I'm gonna go for this because this looks exactly right.
Yeah. So it just made a lot of sense for you when you read it. And
Yeah.
finally, you were able to make sense of the situation. With your CFS, did the doctors diagnose you with anything? Did they say it was long COVID, or did they ever give you a label of something?
It's CFS slash long COVID because they're not really sure. I'm not sure either if it's CFS or if it's long COVID.
Yeah.
I just know that COVID had a role to play
Yeah.
in it. But if it's long COVID or not, I'm not sure. And then the doctors, they
Yeah.
don't know either.
Yeah. Well, it's essentially the same thing, or long COVID turns into CFS. Kind of, they kind of fall under the same category.
Yeah.
So, how was your first month in recovery jumpstart?
When the
Like,
program, yeah. It was really good, and I was still housebound the first period of the program. But all that knowledge, and I think it was probably must have been like in the second week or so. That's when my belief shifted because the theory and the knowledge about what this is that really sort of that clicked for me, and my belief got really strong, and I just knew that this is, that I'm going to get well. So
mhm,
that was sort of the first big milestone, I would say, in my recovery so far.
that's awesome. And that shifted, and that was like you had that mind shift, and that was like the domino effect that led to all your other progress shortly after that. And for you, when you first started coming to the calls, how impactful was it being on calls with other people going through similar things you're going through, and being able to talk and being able to have live coaches on the call? What was that like when you first
Uh,
started?
that was very important, because you met people that were in the same situation as yourself. Because when you, at least for me, living with this before I joined, you feel alone with this. You feel like you're the only one in the world sometimes that has this condition. So it's can be a very lonely disease. So
Yep.
just meeting other people, and of course, a lot of us has become really close friends as well. So
Hmm.
just having that community it's been amazing and so important.
Yeah.
And it's a support. You get support from the coaches, but also from the friends that you make in the program, of course.
Hmm. Absolutely. And every now and then I check in on your group's chats, and you guys are really close. I think you guys even made custom shirts for each other, right? And sent it out.
Yes, yes. We continued our group goals after they were officially done. So we have one today also, actually.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
awesome. It's always cool to see, you know, people coming together like that. And yeah, you're from all different parts of the world, but you have this one thing in common, this kind of thing you guys are fighting for, which is your health. And then
Mm.
that's something very special you guys bond over. So I think you guys will be friends for a very long time. And it's a different kind of connection you have with people that even sometimes family. It's a something that they would never understand and you wouldn't want
Exactly.
them to.
Yeah.
So it's
That,
very unique.
that is the big difference, because you can communicate, you can talk to people that really understand your situation, and that is very difficult for people that have not experienced what this is like.
Hmm.
It makes
Hmm.
a huge difference. At least it did for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And for you, to go from mainly housebound to running 4 kilometers, I just want to get into your mindset of what do you think allowed you to do that? What were the top 2 or 3 things that allowed your body to give you the capacity to do that? I mean, was there a specific mind shift? Was it something in particular you did, or was it just responding well to the symptoms leading up to it?
Yeah, so I had a very strong belief that I would get out of this, and I think that has been fundamental for me, because that strong belief that, so it influences how you think, and I knew through what we had learned in the program that dealing with symptoms is a big part of this. So that was the first thing I think that fell in place for me, and I think I was probably like 2.5 months into the program, but I didn't feel any progress physically at all.
Yeah.
Nothing. I even felt I went backwards. So, and then I had this really long period where I just felt stuck, despite feeling that I handled symptoms very well. So, but then I had a call with Adriana, and that became sort of the shift from being going from housebound or couchbound, which I was also a lot of the time, to where I am today. And the thing was to start moving. That was what we agreed on. So even though I was very fatigued, just start walking.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one thing. But I also realized, starting doing that I had to be in control. I realized that CFS had been in control over my life for over a year. So I was feeling very passive, and I was sort of being controlled by CFS. So
Mm-hmm.
that was the second big mind shift for me, was to take control myself. So I was going to be in charge, and
Mm-hmm.
this is where I started to to move, and yeah, I flared up after every walk, after every activity. I had a flare up, but I had that mindset was in place for dealing with that flare up. So the expansion was, I was surprised myself, to be honest, that it came so fast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was sort of the second milestone I had in the program. So the first one was the belief, and then the second one was this one.
Yeah. And I remember because the coaches, we all talk about everybody's wins and the progress people are making. And we try to dissect it. And I remember for you, because we were asking Adrienne, okay, how did Tom do this? What'd you do with him? And she mentioned, yeah, you were almost plateaued for a while. And one of the things is you were almost waiting for the symptoms to go down almost all the way. But we were in a waiting period for too long. So she was like, you know, we can wait as long as we want. The symptoms aren't going to get any lower than this. We have to move. We have to do something to gain
Yeah.
momentum. And the great thing is you fully trusted her as well. You followed the plan. And then you also responded well because you had full faith in pretty much what we were teaching you. So
Mhm.
you have that second milestone, you start moving again. And what did expansion look like after that? Was it just every week you started adding a bit more, but you were responding just as well, just as much as you were expanding?
I remember I started off with just 3 or 4 minutes walking, shaky legs, and I didn't feel right at all. But I only did that for a few days, and then I felt that this is going the right way. So then I sort of expanded. Maybe I did 8 minutes, and then 12 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
25, 30. Then I started to do some jogging in between, and it sort of, yeah,
That's
it happened very fast as well.
mm-hmm.
And then it just sort of month and a half ago, that was sort of the third milestone, I would say. I just suddenly woke up one day. I had a very active day the day before, no flare up, no symptoms. In the morning, and I decided I just go for a run, just test it, try, see what happens. So I did,
Nice.
and this was the 4 kilometer run, and I have gone on longer runs since then. So
It's amazing.
that was like a release of some sort that
That's
happened.
That's amazing. And I know a lot of people are probably wondering, did you have that voice of doubt creeping in when you were expanding activity? Like, oh, I'm probably doing too much. Ooh, I might pay for this. Or were you mainly focused on, well, I'm just going to do this. And even if the symptoms come, I know how to handle it. What was the mindset behind your expansion?
Yeah, I was expecting symptoms, and I was pretty confident that I would handle them. Yeah, I've probably had a few minutes of doubt every now and then, but for very short periods. So I felt very confident of what I was doing, and that belief system, I think, that was a very good thing to have in that, especially in the start of that expansion period, because
Yeah.
there was I had some pretty bad symptoms, flare-ups when I started to move.
Hmm.
But I trusted that, okay, this is the way, this is how to get out of this.
Yeah. And that's the big difference between what you did this fall and last fall. Whereas last fall, you know, you were stuck and you were pretty scared of the adjustment periods, and you didn't even know what an adjustment period was. You thought it was just a flare up. You thought you screwed up, and now you're going
Um,
backwards. Whereas now, it's part of the like formula for recovery. But
it
that's kind
is.
of the opportunity to retrain your nervous system. Just responding well.
Yeah.
So no, that's amazing. And I just want to ask you, what were your just for people who are wondering, because this is like a miracle for them. They probably don't even believe some of this stuff, right? And you probably didn't believe you'd be able to do this 4 months ago, run this much. What would you say the top three favorite things were for you in Recovery Jumpstart? Right? There's group coaching calls, there's being able to message coaches, but what was most helpful for you?
Definitely knowledge. Without that, for me it would have been very difficult.
Hmm.
So that is probably number one, having the knowledge about what this is, and how the theory around how to deal with this. Yeah, and the support system is also key here. That you have the coaches, and you have the other drivers in the program to communicate with, to reach out to. So that has been also very, very important for me. Yeah, I think those are the sort of two main things I can think of. And
Yeah.
of course, you have this regular follow up all the way to sort of steer you
Yeah.
in the right direction, depending on your situation. So it's very, very personalized, which it has to be, because we're all different.
Hmm. Exactly. Especially with like expanding activity and all that stuff. It's very unique to the individual. It can be very
Yeah,
unique. So when you have that kind of safety net, it just gives you extra confidence that, okay, if something goes wrong here, at least I have the coaches to message, and at least this plan. A lot of times we don't even trust ourselves anymore to create a plan for our activity. So when a
yeah.
coach is helping you do it, it's just, okay, the coach has been in my shoes before. They know what they're doing. Okay, I probably won't crash from this. So let
Mm.
me follow this plan with confidence. And for people who were in your shoes 6 months ago, and they're at that place where they're starting to lose hope, and they've tried so many times, they've been on this journey for months, if not years, what would you say to yourself 6 months ago when you started to lose hope?
No, I would say that this is 100% possible to get well from. There are so many examples of people who have recovered from this. So do the right things, get the knowledge, respond well to symptoms, and yeah, have the belief because it's 100% possible to recover. There are
Hmm.
and more than enough examples of that. And the
Yeah.
reason why a lot of people don't recover, is that they did the same as I did 6 months ago. Um,
Mm. And the main thing there would be just not responding well to symptoms. Would you say that's the biggest thing that kept you stuck before?
Yeah, that and the belief, at least at the end of before I joined the program. And it's natural to think that, you do an activity and then you flare up. Of course, if you have no knowledge about this, the most natural thing to do is to pull back and rest. And I think a lot of people get stuck just because of this. So they adapt their lives to CFS instead of doing what it takes to get out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, you're an inspiration to so many people in the program, and people watching this right now, they're going to be inspired by your massive win of your 4 kilometer run. And the cool thing is, I mean, you're just getting started with your next life. I like to tell people there's like your life previous to CFS, then there's your CFS life. Now you're starting your life for the 2.0 Tom, and you're going to be able to take all the lessons, even just learning how to manage stress. You're going to be able to take it forward with you. So any big plans coming up for you? Are you have any big runs planned or anything like that in 2024?
I don't know, not any big runs planned so far. I want to do runs and ski races and that again, but nothing specific. No specific plans yet. But for me, it's about getting an active life again, going back to work 100%. And of course, everyone that has been through this get a different perspective on things. I think that's. You have to change. That's how it is. You will change going through it to the better. I must add. So there is a huge, nice big light at the end of the tunnel, waiting for those of us that gets through this.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, what does your family think about all this? Because I know back in August, I think your wife and your kids were on vacation, right? But were you there with them, or you stayed home?
I've stayed home. They have been on lots of trips without me. So yeah, of course we have a lot of plans, going places and doing stuff. So yeah,
I'm so
definitely.
happy to hear that. So happy to hear that. Your wife's got her husband back. Kids have their dad back. You could do a lot of fun stuff again and be active. And it's come fairly quickly for you, just because you went all in. So I can't wait to see what the next few months have in store. If we did this in 4 months, imagine what the next 4 months will be. And I know it's not a race to try to get back into life, but it's just exciting to see, you rebuild your life in real time, week by week by week. So my last question is, so far, would you say it's been a good investment to join the program?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
So 4 months ago, I would have paid whatever it took to get well. So so no doubt, it's the best investment I made.
Amazing, amazing. And is there anything else you want to share with people watching this who were in your shoes maybe 6 months ago? Any parting words of wisdom as we wrap this up? You shared a lot of golden nuggets throughout this entire call, but if there's anything else, feel free to add it.
There is something about, I'm a bit cautious to call it hard work because I'll say it anyway. Hard works usually pays off, and that's how it is with everything in life. It takes hard work to reach goals that are difficult to reach, and it's a job. It's a job to do for sure. There is pain, it's suffering, tears, all of that, but it's dedication and doing the same things every day, just believing that what you're doing is right. That's not the solution, but it is possible if you have that mindset and think like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I tell people, I've said this quite a few times in a lot of my YouTube videos, but brain retraining and implementing these principles, of course, it's not the easiest thing. It is hard. It gets hard sometimes. Your mind will resist. It will want to revert back to safety. It will want to not expand activity and go into hibernation mode when you have adjustment periods. So as difficult as it is to follow these principles, follow these frameworks of recovery, it's 100 times more difficult to stay sick and continue dealing with the symptoms, continue just hoping one day it will go away. And that could go on for years if you don't do anything drastic. So it's like a short window of time of dedicated effort and focus and putting your all into this versus 5 years of being sick or 10 years. And it's absolutely worth it for the time and energy that you're putting into this, you know? So, yeah.
And
But
it's so worth fighting for this. And it's, so far my greatest achievement, even though I'm not fully recovered, but I know I will be. So the hard work pays off, the dedication pays off, repetition. It's boring, but
yeah,
it's necessary, and it pays off. And patience. I haven't mentioned patience, but that's also important. I've been lucky or fortunate that things happen fast for me, and for some people it will take a longer time, but it will happen with dedication.
absolutely. It's inevitable that it will happen.
Mm.
And you're right. Just piggybacking off what you said, people work very hard to achieve goals in life. If they want to get a good grade, they study for a few weeks. If they have a project they want to, get a great mark on, they work on it very hard. If they want to get really fit, they work out as much as they can, they eat healthy. So with this, the stakes are very high. If you get this right, you get your life back. You get to work again, you get to travel, enjoy time with family, eat all the foods you want
Mm.
to eat, walk as far as you want. So, of course, with that reward, it's going to take a lot of effort. But I think the time and energy you put into recovery, you're going to get back the best return on investment for time and energy ever that you can ever get in your life. So it's absolutely worth it. And for anybody watching this right now, if you are in a slump, if you do feel like you're in a plateau, keep on going, keep on implementing the principles. Because as you heard from Tom, for the first 2.5 months, it felt like there was no progress, but he kept putting in the work. And eventually, you will have a breakthrough at some point. And that's when progress really starts to stack up. But the hardest part is in the beginning when we're trying to build momentum. But once you build momentum, you just keep the ball rolling. It gets easier and easier. So, Tom, I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your day to come on here and share a lot of your experience with all these folks, with all the thrivers. And I'm just super excited to see what the next few months look like for you. So, really
Thank you.
appreciate your time. And everybody watching this right now, watch this one back again. As I say in every other video, Tom is a huge inspiration. And I'm going to add some clips in of him running just so you can see, this is real. And, just keep watching these recovery videos. Like Tom said, there's so much proof out there now that people get better. It's not like it was 5 or 10 years ago where finding a recovery story was like finding a needle in a haystack. Now there's so much proof that it works. And these are normal people. Tom is not an alien born on a different planet. He's human, right? So the principles work for anybody. Science is science, right? So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button. Comment down your favorite part. What was your biggest golden nugget to take away from this video, right? And if you did need some extra help, you can apply to Recovery Jumpstart. We also have our Recovery Academy program, which is a much more affordable program we've created for people. But other than that, you are a thriver. Always remember that. And you are just one mind shift away from living a life with thriving health. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much, Tom.
Thank you, Miguel.